Are you looking to spruce up your yard or maybe even the inside of your house? Look no further than Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Gift Shop. Located just outside of Bright, Indiana, Casey specializes in transforming the outside of your home with expert landscape services. And they'll even help you beautify the inside with unique finds from their charming gift shop. We want to send a huge thank you to Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Gift Shop for being a fantastic sponsor of the Rock Solid Families podcast. Their support helps us to continue to uplift families in our community. For all your landscape dreams and delightful home accents, visit Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Gift Shop, just outside of Bright, Indiana. That's Casey's, making your home beautiful inside and out. Welcome to Rock Solid Families Podcast. This is Merrill Hutchinson alongside of my lovely wife, Linda Hutchinson. Hello, Linda. How are you today?
I'm good. We are over the hump with the whole wedding thing. We're done.
The wedding is in the past.
The wedding is in the past. It was an amazing day.
The newlyweds are off and doing life, and we are recovering.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a wedding hangover, even without the alcohol, just like the exhaustion, right? But we've had a couple days recover, so I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm a little tired, but
I like this new little vest you got there.
Well,
sporting your
I'm wearing it mostly because you were making fun of me, and so I'm just going to keep it on because
you look like you're about ready to walk out the door or something.
You never know. You never know.
You're styling. Yeah. What are we talking about? We're not talking about that.
Well, as we are recording this, we are in the backside, the rear side of October.
Yeah.
And so that happens to be Halloween.
Oh, man.
And so
That's a buzzword right there.
It is. And so, we've done shows before on spiritual warfare and evil, and we obviously talk about sin things all the time within our shows. And so today, I think we're just going to dedicate a show to Halloween. Celebrating Halloween or not, what should we be aware of, or some things to consider? And I want to say, neither you or I grew up with a hard stance on Halloween.
No, it wasn't really talked about. It was just something you did.
It was trick or treat, right?
Trick or treat,
you went out and you got
up.
candy and that kind of thing. But we're going to have some conversation, and at the end of the day, hopefully it'll be some things to think about.
Yeah, even if you're listening to this after Halloween, the whole idea of just kind of dancing with the devil, kind of really, I mean, there's a lot of people who will do a ton of horror shows, those gruesome, horror films, haunted houses, blood and guts things, and so we're just kind of talking about, as parents, what is our responsibility? How do we lead our family well? How do we honor the Lord and still recognize that the world is talking about this and doing these things? And so how do we be in the world but not of the world?
Right. I've never liked being scared.
Me either.
I never cared for the idea of getting spooked or, even when somebody startles me, I almost punch them.
You do.
I'm lucky I've not knocked somebody out, because
I learned that early on.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, being startled. And so how we get startled, sometimes it could be just a shocking thing, but there's a lot of gruesomeness and blood and gore involved. And so, some people, I don't know, it's entertainment at some level. It's never been attractive to me.
No,
okay?
and the blood and guts movies, the horror movies, the slasher movies, I just never have been a fan. And so now I'm learning a little bit more of really the danger of that, not just like, oh, I could give it or take it or leave it. It's more of, what is that teaching our kids? What is that modeling for society and how we approach really the demonic world?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But Halloween is obviously a holiday, and it is a time
celebrated all over the world. Yeah.
Right? It's big. Yeah. And we have celebrated it over the years. And maybe we've approached it a little differently than some, but we're going to have that discussion. Yeah. And hopefully at the end of the day, we will talk about some different things that you can talk about within your family and how you want to start approaching this particular day or season. Okay.
But before we do,
let's thank our sponsors.
Yeah. We want to thank Maxwell Construction, Casey's Outdoor Solutions, and the Hoosier Ice House for their support, not just of the Rock Solid Families podcast, but the ministry of Rock Solid Families. And if you do not know who we are, if you just turned this in and turned us on and heard what we're talking about today, and you want to learn more, go to our website, rocksolidfamilies.org. We are a faith-based coaching organization located in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio area. We work with individuals, couples, and families, really either in person in one of our 2 offices in St. Leon, Indiana, or Lawrenceburg, Indiana, but also Zoom all over the country. So if this is a wrestling match for you, if this is a topic that really kind of spurs some real emotion in you and you really want to explore more about that, we would love to walk alongside you.
Yeah. Also, I want a reminder at the end of November. Actually, it's not quite at the end this year. November 22nd is our Families Rock Saturday, our intensive parenting program. And it will be down at our new office down in Lawrenceburg at the Care Center. It's called the
Care Resource Connection.
Yes, so it's got a weird name, but we'll be pushing that as well. But just put that on your calendar if you're looking to maybe attend that parenting program. It's a great program, so put that down. That's November 22nd from 8:30 till 12 o'clock.
Yeah, you can find more about that on our website under events, rocksolidfamilies.org. But, hon, we're talking really about how do you approach really the demonic world. There's a lot of people who think it's fun and innocent about Ouija boards and tarot cards. Hun, you and I were at a local coffee shop not too long ago, and we were doing work. Do you remember this? And somebody came and sat behind us, and it was a medium. And it was a woman who was being hired by another woman to talk to her dead father and brother. And
you were more in tune with that
holy
than
cow,
I was.
because they were right behind me. You didn't really understand. But it was bizarre, and it was really disturbing how this woman is telling this woman really what she wants to hear. And it was disturbing. And I thought, holy cow, this is the world we're living in, where people are so desperate to talk to the dead, to find out about their future, all those different things, that they will really kind of dance with the devil, and they will enter into this world that the Bible is very clear about. You don't want to have anything to do with mediums and spiritists and all those things that are really real,
right,
but definitely dangerous to dance with.
Well, the one word that I want to bring up that has happened to all of us at some time on different topics is being desensitized.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so, the longer things go on, when you first see something that's shocking, it grabs your attention, but then you see it again and again and again, and eventually it just doesn't even get your attention at all.
Yeah.
And so many things, whether it's pornography, whether it's cussing, whether it's drinking, like so many things we get desensitized to.
Oh, yeah.
And so, that's part of what has happened here, that Halloween has been so normalized. And many parts of Halloween, from, I'll just say, the festive part of it, are fun and are good and are, not bad. But we need to be a little bit more aware of, where did this sneak up on me?
Yeah.
How did I find myself practicing? Or maybe even if I'm not practicing, I'm compliant, and I'm accomplice to the idea that we're going to have this kind of party.
Yeah, I mean, when you have headless horsemen in your front yard, and you have 12-foot skeletons, and you've got bloody, fingerprints on your windows, and it's just like, oh, it's fun, it's Halloween. It's disturbing. And little kids are, it's like, do you want to desensitize a 4-year-old to slashing and graveyards? And it is sick.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things that's sick about it, hon, is death is one of these things that should grab all of our attention. It's the finality of things, right? Especially death here on this earth. And nobody looks forward to death typically. And so you and I do, as Christians, we can look forward to death because it's not death, it's everlasting life.
The end, yeah.
But that's because we have a Christian perspective. When we just talk about just death, finality of life is not really something to celebrate, right? And so we have to be careful that we celebrate all this death stuff when you don't give the other side of it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not just death, it's evil. It's evil. I mean, we're talking, the kids with the masks that you squirt, the blood goes all over the masks, or
the gore.
The gore. And the Bible has a very specific stance on that. It says nothing to do with it. It says your struggle is not against flesh and blood. This is Ephesians chapter 6. This is the whole armor of God. It says we are fighting a battle, and it's not against you and I. It's not against our neighbor. It's against the darkness, the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. And so we have got to be alert and aware that it's a very slippery slope. It's not that I was dressing up like an old lady or a superhero. It's really that now, like you said, we're desensitized to blood and guts and gore and evil that is really kind of scary.
Yeah, stuff that would end life, right? Stuff that would be brutal and just destroy life, and then kind of think at some weird level that it was entertainment or fun. So we just want to, first off, we are to value life. And the idea that we would just devalue it by just not even thinking twice about how somebody was butchered or slaughtered or destroyed. It's just something like, you don't want that part of your regular makeup. We have a good friend who is a fireman and a paramedic, and he talks about one of the fears that they become so desensitized in that work. That's legit, real work, right? Like they're going to first aid needy responses all the time, and they see things in real life.
Yeah,
that
arms cutting off.
Yes,
people being decapitated in a car.
Right,
like real life.
And so, and he talks about the fear that he has now as he's become so hardened to it that even when he sees it, he doesn't get emotional anymore. He doesn't even try to protect himself from it. And so as a culture, we have also done that by the movies and films and shows that we watch. And so basically we have devalued life. Right? We have devalued life, ultimately God. So we just want to be really aware of like, how much am I joining in and allowing that to be part of what we're doing?
Yeah. So, we're just trying to alert you and kind of begin the conversation for some that hasn't even really been had. Like you and I, growing up, we just did it, and people were pouncing out of coffins, and running around with their head cut off. And so is it dangerous to invite and entertain the idea of celebrating evil and death? Is there any proof that could lead to bad things? I think of a story that's been in the news of Slender Man and those young girls who had heard about Slender Man. It was kind of a dark cartoon, and because of that, one girl went out and tried to kill her friends in the woods, thinking that Slender Man told her to do that. And there's all kinds of very graphic, horrific video games that plant seeds in kids' minds that are very vulnerable to those kind of messagings, those kind of images. I was just reading in the Bible today in Luke chapter 12, it was talking about how our eye is the lamp of the body. And so whatever comes in through our eyes, if it's darkness is going to be inside us.
Right.
The music we listen to, the shows we watch, the costumes we wear, the people we're around. Like if we're exposing our kids to that kind of evil and darkness, that kind of stuff's getting in.
Yeah.
And we got to be very careful.
Yeah, when we talk about nutrition, we talk about you are what you eat, right? Well, mentally, you are what you consume as well.
Yep.
And so when you consume a lot of stuff that is dark and evil, you become more of that, and you in other words, you accept it, and your body
desensitized too.
Yeah, you respond to it. And so we just really, guys, we just want to be careful. Like, what am I putting into my body, not just from a food or physical perspective, but from the visual and auditory, the other senses. So,
Johan, early on in ministry, we had a kind of an outreach ministry, a bus ministry. We would go down into some pretty rough parts of town, pick up kids and bring them to church. And there was kids that would just hop the bus, and the parents would be all about it because it was like a babysitting couple hours. And one family I was ministering to, they lived in an apartment and their kids were having bad nightmares. And so they kind of wanted me to fix it. Well, as I'm talking to these kiddos, there was 3 of them and they were elementary to preschool. Parents loved the Saw movie series. I've never seen it, but it's pretty gory, I think. And so Saw 1, Saw 2, Saw 3, and they would watch these movies on a regular basis. And the kids, they were in this kind of studio apartment, so there was really no bedroom for them. And basically, they were telling the kids to suck it up and deal with it. Like, this is what we like to watch.
Right.
And one little 6-year-old would tell me stories how she would go out into the hallway to sleep so she didn't have to hear the screams of those movies. And later on, those kids had very disturbing patterns of behavior because of that's what they saw growing up. That's all they heard. And their parents thought it was okay. It's just a movie. It's not a movie. It's not just a movie. It plants seeds. Yeah. Disturbing seeds.
Well, man, you're talking here, hon, a parenting situation. It's one thing if you as an adult want to go partake in this type of thing.
Bad enough,
bad enough. But when you put your kid in this and they haven't the tools yet to be able to decipher right, wrong, good, bad, evil, So now you put this in front of your kids. And the knee-jerk reaction from most kids when they see this stuff, you don't have to tell them, now this is something you should be afraid of. Like, it naturally is scary. And so when you as a parent think that it's funny, you really are just misguiding your parenting opportunity here. And so we just ask you, like, think twice. Your kids don't have the tools, or are you sure they have the tools to be able to go, oh, this is just a show, or this isn't real, or, so there's a lot of training that goes into it. Like even the fireman guy I was talking about before they even go on their first run, and it's not perfect, but they're taught, you're going to see these kinds of things. Start to prepare yourself.
Hun and we were guilty. We would take our kids to the haunted forest that your sister had her party, and we'd do haunted houses. Occasionally, not big, but and as parents, sometimes we'll laugh at kids who are crying and screaming as they're being chased by an axe murderer. It's like, what about that sounds right? Like we're training our kids to be desensitized the fact that someone's running around with a bloody axe trying to cut your head off, and it's a joke, but it's not funny. I think about that, like, what are we doing to our kiddos? And so we really want to give you some alternatives, some really things to think about, especially as we enter Halloween week and this fall season, maybe how to treat Halloween and the whole idea of evil spirits a little differently.
Are you ready for a delicious meal and a great time? Then head to the Hoosier Ice House, located in beautiful downtown Lawrenceburg. Whether you're craving a juicy burger, a fresh, crisp salad, or something in between, the Hoosier Ice House has a fantastic lunch and dinner menu to satisfy every taste. And when the weather's calling your name, their amazing outdoor venue is the perfect spot to relax and enjoy your meal. Soak up that downtown atmosphere. We also want to give a huge thank you to the Hoosier Ice House for being a proud sponsor of the Rock Solid Families podcast. We truly appreciate your support in helping us build stronger families in our community. For great food, great service, and a fantastic outdoor experience, make your way to the Hoosier Ice House in downtown Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Come on down to the Hoosier Ice House, where good times are always on tap. Yeah, basically, guys, there's kind of 3 approaches that you can take, all right? One of them is just avoid it, right? Like, we're not going to do this. We don't partake in it at all. It's just not a topic. And so, and by the way, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Like, and you can, early on, if you teach your kids, no, this is why, and we're just not going to partake in it. And especially if your kids know the reason, you probably aren't going to get a lot of backlash, right? We have a family who, they don't celebrate Christmas with presents. Well, they just talk to the kids about that, and that's kind of what they do. The same thing can happen here. One of the alternatives here is just like, no, we don't celebrate it.
Now, I will say, you can't bury your head in the sand. The reality is it's out there. So you're going to have at least conversations about the big skeletons you're driving by every day, or the big display of the Thrasher at the Sam's Club. You
You're
know,
right.
I mean, you're going to have conversations. So it's hard to avoid completely, but you don't have to partake in it, right?
Yeah, but it's a great time, especially when your kids get to be old enough to have conversations. So these can be great opportunities for conversation starters. So you're actually, as a parent, you're going to take a stand as to how you will operate and why, and explain to your kids, like, and here's our rationale. All right. And so when your kids know the reason why you do certain things, it makes so much more sense versus them just getting mad. Why don't we get to celebrate Halloween?
Yeah.
Okay. When they see your reasoning and it makes some sense to them, they will jump on board with you.
Yeah. This is when you can educate them about the historical pagan occults and origins, and focus on the darkness, the evil, and the occult, you know, and also the religious part of that.
Right.
You know, since Halloween is the eve of All Saints Day and on November 1st, you know, or Reformation Day as Protestants, you can shift that focus, right? And to celebrate Christ and the heroes of the faith. And so, you know, there's an opportunity there to really educate and to have conversations.
Yeah, and so then fall is a neat season, right?
I love it's my favorite season.
Yeah, we love it. So there are other things and ways we can approach it, you know. So you don't have to just be a total fuddy-dud and you're sorry, kids, we don't do anything. You know, whether they're the trick or treat or trunk or treats that you have, whether they're just fall festivals,
Pumpkin patches,
you know, focusing on the All Saints, the religious side of it. So what we would just say is have some conversation, you and your spouse have some conversation of how do we want our kids to experience this day. Be intentional, because here's what we always have to remember. Somebody else is being intentional.
Yeah.
And usually the intentionality is coming from whoever can market best and make money off of it.
Yeah.
And gore sells. And so you just have to remember, like, a lot of this stuff is out there, and if you are passive on it, your kid is going to get educated. Did you have anything to do with governing that?
And you can decorate. You can decorate with pumpkins and corn stalks. You know, it can celebrate harvest party. You know, there's all different kinds of traditions that you can do to combat the evil that's trying to infiltrate your home and your mind. Or you can decide, and we have other people who have decided to do that we're going to redeem this day. We're going to use this day that people are celebrating and going to come to my house and knock on my door to redeem it for the Lord. And so that's when you've got people who will, you know, have a chance to maybe put a bonfire out on their driveway and hand out hot dogs or hot chocolate or, you know, different things where they're engaging with their neighbors. Because sometimes you close your door and you turn off the lights, you kind of look like that fuddy-dud that, you know, oh, you're judging me, you're condemning me, versus how do we redeem that day? How do we use it for God's glory? That's how people sometimes approach the day.
Yeah. Again, you can still go out and experience the evening or whatever, the trick or treat kind of thing, but we're just doing something a little bit different there.
Yeah.
I also think that there's some things that as a parent, when we talk about redeeming it, you know, one of the things as a kid I remember very clearly is, what are you going to dress up as?
Yeah.
And so, like, this is, you know, you want your kids to have fun. There's excitement there. This is an opportunity for some joy and fun. And so, you know, be creative with, well, you know, as long as we stay away from these things, like whatever, the death, the graves, the slashing, and the blood, you know, to be a biblical character or to be a cartoon character of some sort, to have some fun with it and let your kids enjoy that. We were never very creative in the costume world. So
football
we were
player
like,
every year.
Yeah, I got a football player, or this year I'm a hobo. So anyway, like, but you can take the time to do that, and you do not have to go down the dark evil side.
Yeah. And no matter if you decide to participate and redeem the day or do some alternatives or not at all, the goal is to put the full armor of God on. You know, as it said in Ephesians 6, this is a battle between the spiritual realms of darkness against the evil forces. And so the spiritual defense is the belt of truth, right? It is the breastplate of breastplate of righteousness, doing the right thing to guard your heart, the shield of faith that's going to extinguish the flaming arrows, the helmet of salvation by teaching truth to kids
Right.
to protect their mind and their heart. And as far as the sword of the Spirit, that's God's word. What does God's word say? And then prayer and the gospel of peace, is the shoes fitted for the readiness of the gospel of peace. Like, we're not here to go out and slash someone's tires because they have a skeleton in their garage.
Right,
in their driveway.
right.
Like, that's not good, being a good neighbor and showing God's peace. Okay.
So, and I want to just talk to that, hon. Like, so this is a great opportunity during this season for you to talk about the full armor of God. And why do I need it? Because there is evil. So this is not to say like there is not evil and tell your kids, no, we just don't talk about that. No, this is a great time to talk about. This is the enemy. This is a force we want to know how to deal with. And hey, my little boy or girl, here's how you can start to learn how to do that. And so then bringing out all of the armor of God. So guys, this is a great opportunity for you to equip your kids so that they can walk into weird, scary places with their shoulders back and their head up going, I'm not afraid of this stuff.
Yeah. And not running away and hiding, right? Like, oh my gosh, it's October. I've got to go bury my head in the sand and not come out of my house because evil's around me. No, it says that that the Lord is greater than the forces in this world. I'm getting that verse wrong, but basically, like, we don't have to be afraid of the devil. We don't have to be afraid of the evil spirits because, by the way, the enemy is real. Satan is real and the demonic forces are real. We don't want to really play around with that. It's not something we want to just like put our toe in the water about. We want to flee from it, it says.
And hon, I think that's a huge point because I think a lot of even adults don't give merit to the idea that evil is real, that there's a spiritual warfare. And I think, from our perspective, because we work in this stuff and we deal with people that are struggling and they're strangled by sin all the time, that sin and evil are real. And to look at your kid and say, guys, that's nothing.
Yeah.
No, like there is an evil force out there that's constantly trying to occupy our minds, our kids' minds. And there's lots of different tricky ways that it happens, right? And so usually it's done through entertainment and fun and excitement.
And I'm just going to tell you, growing up, my friend had a Ouija board. And as a young junior high girl, we had sleepovers and had Ouija board things. And it was like funny, haha. I'm just telling you, you want to explain to your kids, you don't want to mess with it. You don't want to mess with a magic ball or tarot cards or, talking to the dead. All of those things are really dancing with the devil. And it's really giving the devil a foothold. And the Bible says, you want to submit yourselves to the Lord, resist the devil, and then he will flee from you.
Yeah. Because, guys, you're putting other authorities in your life. And there's only one authority that needs to be in your life. If you look at horoscopes, if you look at tarot cards, if you're going, well, tell me my future. In other words, you're giving them the power to weigh in on your life. And that's a dangerous thing because you don't know what's governing how that message is going to get to you. Is it going to be out of good or evil or selfishness? And so this is why there's only one authority in our life. And we want to teach our kids this. God is everything that is good. And so I am only going to go to God and the Word of God to get my information about how I'm going to live.
Yeah.
Right? And so this is really important that you submit and teaching your kid, no, I'm not listening to all these other ways. I'm only going to submit to God's Word and His way.
Yeah, and you bring up horoscopes, hon, and I'm just going to tell you, even as an adult, as a Christian adult, I thought, it's just kind of fun.
Right.
Fortune cookies. It's one of those things where it is a slippery slope. And when we are kind of like, let's look at what it says. And, oh my gosh, I shouldn't do that because my horoscope says it's a bad day.
Right.
We really are giving the devil a foothold. And so we're asking you, please, as a parent, to draw near to God through the spiritual disciplines, prayer and fasting and reading his word and worshiping him and fleeing from the temptations and the evil that is out there have nothing to do with that because it is something that we teach our kids. Oh, it's not so bad. It's not a big deal if I listen to these lyrics that is very satanic or watch this movie that is very horror. Like, you're just opening that door, that window where the enemy can really get a foothold.
Yeah, guys, just remember, whatever we practice, we become good at. And if I'm practicing seeking out information from the horoscope page, from the darker side of things, if that's how I practice, it'll become my way. It becomes comfortable, right? And so what I'd rather do is get comfortable with praying, get comfortable with reading God's word. Get comfortable with getting counsel from people who also consult God's word. So these are just things, guys, that are you got to just be intentional. But once you set the habit up that this is where I get my information, this is where I get my food, my spiritual food, it really is not a big deal.
Yeah. So John 8:12 says, Jesus declared, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And so you have to make a decision as an adult. Are you going to walk in darkness and kind of follow kind of what the culture is saying, like, hey, it's no big deal, it's fun, it's innocent? Or are you going to say no to darkness and follow in the light? And when you do, I'm telling you, you will never regret that. And your kids will have such a better model of really what it looks like to live a life that honors the Lord and is really healthy and safe for you.
Yeah. So that idea, so I have to invite God in, right? I have to invite Christ in, and dark and light cannot be in the same room at the same time, right? There's only one or the other, because lightness gets rid of dark, right? And
darkness is the absence of light.
Right.
Yeah.
So the idea here, guys, is I do have to be intentional about inviting the light in. And so now we want to be careful. If somebody has light in their life, does that mean they will never experience evil? No, they will still feel tempted. And so Satan doesn't, just quit knocking on your door.
No.
Satan would love for you to find alternatives to Christ and his way. And so that's why temptation continues. Even Christ himself was tempted, right? And so we have to be very aware that just because you call yourself a Christian doesn't mean temptation goes away. And that's why we continue to put on the full armor of God. That's why we continue to do these practices and teaching your kid that early. This is, well, you got baptized, you're good to go. Your life is going to be great. If that's the way you've taught your kid, he's going to get really frustrated early, because he's going to go one day after he's baptized, which we often find that all of a sudden they're spiritually attacked. I've had the worst day ever. We saw that the Emmaus walk is going on in our area right now, and we always prepare people like after the walk, prepare, because you may have had the best weekend in the world where you've just been filled with the Spirit, and then the days following you feel like, oh my gosh,
attack.
I'm being attacked. So Satan's not going to rest. He really wants you to get down on your faith, get down on God, and look for other alternatives outside of God.
Yeah. So anyway, we just wanted to start a conversation, as we prepare for the end of October and this Halloween season, really to be thoughtful about what is it that you're demonstrating? What is it that you're displaying? What is it that you're modeling for your kids, for your neighbors, especially as a believer? We don't want to really dance with the devil. We don't want to entertain evil, because it is existing. It does exist, and we don't really want to magnify it. We want to shine light into that darkness. So we hope this has been helpful. We know that we are a work in progress. This is not how we were raised. We really didn't even give it a second thought for a lot of our adult life. And so we really just want to kind of make you think a little bit about what you're doing and why, and what that looks like for your kids, and the messaging that you're really giving them. So let's really keep speaking that truth in love. That's what the Bible tells us to do. That's what keeps our minds and our hearts healthy and our relationships strong.
Guys, we want to thank you for listening to Rock Solid Families. If there's anything that we can do to help you out, whether it's parenting or your marriage, or just you have an individual situation going on just for you and you're trying to walk through it and it's difficult, please reach out to us. You can get us at our office at 812-576-7625. Also, just check out our webpage, rocksolidfamilies.org. We always have different things going on, from our blogs links to our newsletter, just different things that we're doing and pushing out there. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we'd like to see what we can do to help you get some of the evil out of your life and find Christ in there.
Yeah, and thank you again to our sponsors. Rock Solid Families wants to thank Maxwell Construction, Casey's Outdoor Solutions, and the Hoosier Ice House for their support. And we thank you, our listeners, for listening to the Rock Solid Families podcast, building a stronger community, one family at a time. Make it a great day.
When it comes to building, you need a name you can trust. You need Maxwell Construction. Maxwell Construction delivers quality, whether you're looking for a new commercial space for your business or a dream residential home for your family. They build with integrity, crafting structures that stand the test of time. We want to extend a sincere thank you to Maxwell Construction for being a vital sponsor of the Rock Solid Families podcast. Their commitment helps us build stronger families in our community. For your next commercial or residential project, choose the proven quality of Maxwell Construction. Find them online or give them a call today. That's Maxwell Construction, building your future one quality structure at a time.